For years, we've been told to squat, bench press, and deadlifts, the big compound exercises to build strength and size. But if you're over 40 like me and you have some injuries, you probably want to look at getting smarter, safer ways to get better gains in the gym without getting injured. Today, I'm going to be walking you through the 10 most popular underrated exercises that are going to blow through the basics and not get you injured, yet still give you amazing gains in the gym. And I got my buddy here today, Pavel, who's going to be demonstrating lifting over 200 pounds without getting injured. If you want strength that lasts and joints that don't hate you, you're in the right place. My name is Coach Dimitri, and welcome to the Pure Motivation Podcast Show. Before we begin, it's contest time. I'm going to be giving 2 lucky winners a month of free program design. All you got to do is like this video, subscribe, and leave me a comment and tell me what you thought of the video. At the end of the week, we'll put together the tally and we'll pull a draw. And if you're the lucky one, get ready for some free program design. As always, I'm talking about the 5 M's to mastery. Today, we're talking about muscle and muscle growth. And the reason why I wanted to bring this episode to you is because I've been getting a lot of messages from people saying that they follow me, they like seeing what I do, but they're getting injured. So I want to break down for you 10 easy exercises that not only can give you massive gains, but they're going to shock your body. And when your body adapts to doing the regular movements, even myself, the bench press, the squat, the deadlift, if you change up the movement in the exercise, you'll actually shock your body, your central nervous system, and you're going to get better gains because you need to do different things. If you find a way to change things up and shock your body, you're going to stimulate new muscle growth and get amazing results. You ready to go? Let's kick it. What's up? I'm here with Pavel Murenko. What's up, bro? Not only has he been a member in the club, but he's actually been my training partner. And what I like about this guy is he's an ectomorph like me, but he's got unbelievable power and he's got Wolverine joints. The first movement I'm going to have Pavel show you is going to be the Underhand Grip Bench Press. Now, this is an amazing exercise, and I'll tell you why. So we're on the bench press here. He's going to be starting in a few seconds here, but the Underhand Grip Bench Press is much better or an alternative to the regular flat or the incline bench press. I'll show you why for a few reasons. So first, we're going to look at the regular bench press. Pavel's going to do a few reps. As you can see, his elbows are really, really wide. It's a great movement. He's got his feet stabilized. His body's nice and neutral. He's got that little arch in the back and he's pressing up. It's hitting all angles of the bench press. However, for guys who are tall and long and have long arms, their elbows are going to be so wide apart, which is putting more stress on the shoulder joint, especially if you go nice and low. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change it to the Underhand Grip Bench Press. Now this will attach and hit some of the triceps as well. This exercise gives you better shoulder mechanics and gives you better upper chest activation. As you can see, it creates a very natural elbow path for pressing. His elbows are pulled in, which is much, much healthier. Now, in terms of balance and coordination, he may have to go a little bit lower to get started, but it's actually going to be able to activate a lot more upper chest. And as he comes down, his elbows are narrow, which is really, really good for help so he doesn't injure the shoulder. And it actually activates more muscle fibers than doing the regular bench press because of the unique angle of the lift. If you want to go really, really heavy for this movement, try to keep your rep range anywhere between 6 to 8 repetitions. Go slow with your form and do not start with a big plate right here. Build yourself up with a 25, 35, and then go from there. But this is the first exercise, which is underrated, and you got to try it out. Exercise number 2 is the high cable pulley row. Now, compared to the horizontal row, for the horizontal row, the body is basically in a horizontal axis. Elbows are coming straight into the back. Your body's neutral, which is great. The only difference is you're in one plane of motion and you're not going to be using a lot more of a stretch for the lats and for the rear deltoids. Now, when it comes to looking at different grips, you can go with a narrow grip to work on more of a narrow grip to work on the inner part of the back. You can go with a wider grip if you want to hit more of the wider part of the lats, or you can also use a rope for people who have wrist injuries or shoulder injuries, and you can actually turn it in any way you need to so it doesn't actually affect the injured area. Okay, so we're going to get into the high cable row. Now you want to go a little bit heavier than your regular horizontal row because this angle is going to need a little bit more row. Now, as you can see, Pavel's feet are planted. Some gyms will actually have a footrest in this position here where you can actually lean back and put your feet up. It improves posture and shoulder health with more natural movement. So as you can see, Pavel's doing a high row. This version is going to hit a lot of the upper back, rear delt muscles, a lot of the trap muscles, not so much of the lower lats. Now, change to a lower lat one with your elbows lower. As he changes the grip now, you can see he's going to row, boom. Just by dropping his elbows down, he's gonna engage the lower lats, a lot more of the lower traps. And again, for someone that's doing an athletic exercise, someone that's involved in a sport that needs their body to move or twist in different planes of motion, this upper cable pulley row is gonna stimulate the back, the rear deltoids, and by changing the angle, you can get much more advantage from an athletic standpoint than your basic horizontal row. All right, exercise number 3, the weighted pull-up. This is the boss of all boss exercises. That's right. Why? Because not too many people could do a pull-up. And forget just pulling your own body weight, but actually lifting weights. Now, compared to the lat pull-down, as you can see with the lat pull-down, you're using a cable pulley system. And the thing I don't like about cable pulley systems is it's not real, man. By having more cables assist you with the cable pulley row, it's gonna make the movement easier. Also, your feet are locked into the position. There's no movement in the lower body. And again, it's not compound. You don't have the balance and coordination activated versus a weighted pull-up, which is superior. The weighted pull-up builds unmatched vertical pulling strength, which cannot be compared with any other movement around. And the beauty of this is whether you go wide or narrow, you're building up forearm strength as well. It provides core tension in his entire upper body and super strength, super power strength, which can be transferred over to all different exercises. So he's got the belt weight attachment on him. I suggest you never start off with 245 pounds. And if you are someone that's got wrist issues or forearm pain, like tennis elbow, you don't do this. So let's go, nice and wide. He's going with a thumbs under grip to activate that core. Boom, here we go, 1 rep. Boom, 2 reps, 3 reps, come on. 4 reps, 5 reps, a little higher. 6 reps, 7 reps, 1 more, baby. Here we go. Nice. His last set, we're gonna strip off this bloody weight, and we're gonna have him do the set. And you'll see that he's able to get up much, much easier. You see, when adaptation occurs, and if you can do pull-ups with your own body weight, after a certain period of time, you need to change it. You gotta shock something up. Now, to really shock his back, we're gonna go underhand grip and go narrow, neutral grip. And now he's gonna fly through the roof. He's gonna be able to get as high as he can. Boom, there you go. All right, guys, exercise number 4, the single leg press, one of my favorite exercises. Why? Because the older I'm getting, I'm noticing that the more I put the bar on my back, the more I'm squatting, I'm compressing that spine, I'm getting pains in my upper back, and really, I want to be competitive. I want to compete with you watching me, I want to compete with Pavel, and the more heavier I lift, the more I'm going to look at getting injured. So with the single leg press, this is far more advantageous because it's unilateral, using 1 leg at a time versus bilateral, 2 of them. And compared to the regular leg press where you have 2 legs going up and down, you got a lot more control and range of motion. He's gonna slowly come down with 1 leg. And as you come down, you can develop a lot more hip control, firstly. You also are able to stabilize and activate the quadriceps, the hamstrings, the calf muscles. You can go a little bit deeper with 1 leg than you can with 2 legs, and you can change the level of your foot positioning. Now, I'm gonna have him put your foot a little bit higher. So the highest you can go, now slowly come back down with 1 leg. This is gonna activate a lot more hamstrings. As you can see, his foot's placed a lot more higher, and he can actually drop his leg almost touching his chest, which is pretty good. Now, if we change the angle, we're gonna drop a little bit lower, which activates a lot more of the quadricep. I don't know how you can do this because he's got really good ankle mobility, but look at that. He can drop his leg all the way down. Pay attention to his heels, guys. His heels are flat, which is nuts, which means he's got really good mobility in his ankle. And lastly, this adds serious intensity to your legs without compressing the spine. You're not compressing the spine by going up and down. You don't have to focus on having all this tension hitting the body. And if your upper body's sore, you can just use your lower body to get great results. Try this exercise. Make sure you don't go so heavy. Build your way up. And I suggest you don't start with 1 plate. Start with just the leg press on its own. Do 10 to 12 reps. A key thing is your opposite foot has to be planted right to the ground. And you want to make sure that as you're coming down, you don't want your glute to come off the floor. You want to stabilize your hips and you want to kick some ass. Let's go. Okay, we're at exercise number 5, weighted dips. Now, this is a superior movement. I believe far more superior and replaces the bench press or the chest press. Now, why is this an underrated exercise? Because people think that you can't build mass and size from doing a weighted dip or just a basic dip. Now, as you're gonna see Pavel begin to do the movement, he's strapped up with 50 pounds of weight on him. He's going super, super wide, so he can actually hit the chest far more. But this is also gonna hit chest, it's gonna hit deltoids, it's gonna hit triceps, it's gonna get a lot more activation in the top part of the movement. And because you can actually drive your body a little bit lower, you can hit angles that you couldn't typically do when you're doing a bench press or a chest press. This movement builds a lot more power without locking the scapula. It's a lot more natural. And this movement scales very, very easily because you can do it with just body weight if you want. You can attach a green band over here if you need support to assist you, and then you can actually load up the weight. You can actually turn inwards as well if you want to just hit triceps with a narrow grip. As you can see, Pavel went nice and wide. But this is an underrated exercise which you have to try out. Next, we're gonna be talking about the split squats and actually a staggered split squat. If you have access to one of these risers, you can use it as well. But if you don't have access, you can do it on the floor. Now, this is great because it gives you a lot more mobility and stability of the ankle, the knee, and the hip compared to a barbell back squat. Again, we're not gonna be putting a lot of pressure on his spine in case he's recovering from an injury, in case he has anything bugging him in the upper body and back. Placing the barbell on his back and that load is gonna be much, much harder than putting it in his hands. And again, you're also working on building that forearm and grip strength. So to begin the movement, he's gonna go with a smaller stance than a regular lunge stance, and he's gonna slowly descend his body. And you're gonna see that the natural drive of the knee going over the toe is gonna be good for a natural range of motion. Now, by him keeping the small stance, the focus is gonna be primarily on the quadriceps versus the hamstrings, whereas a traditional lunge would have him stretch out much, much further. This builds unilateral strength, and it also helps the body by going much, much deeper and getting a lot more hip strength as well. Now, this also reduces joint load by still putting ample emphasis on the quads and the hamstrings. If he was using a barbell with this movement, yes, don't get me wrong, it's gonna be great for building power and strength, but after a certain while, certain movements are gonna hurt your body. We wanna change them up to transition into something safer for the joints. Exercise number 7, we're talking about the hyperextension, and this can be done on a GHD machine, which is exactly here, which will be more on a horizontal axis, or there's many different platforms in the gym which are hyperextension machines, which are kind of on an angle. It's gonna be great, and it's gonna replace a stiff-legged deadlift, which is gonna be typically done with a barbell or a dumbbell. You're not putting all that load on the low back as you come down and up. So as you can see, Pavel's gonna be getting set up. Just putting him in this position, holding this position right here is gonna work his glutes, his hamstrings, it's gonna work his low back, his mid back, and he's in a straight position with no compression to the spine. As he comes down, he gets to really stretch out that back. Now for this movement here, as you come up, you wanna hold, pause in this position, squeeze the glutes and the hamstrings, and now what he can also do is come up and drive your elbows back to hit those rear deltoids. Boom, excellent. As you can see, as he's going down, he's getting a nice stretch. He's still hitting everything in the posterior chain, but it's in a safer, more natural movement than doing the barbell Romanian deadlift or a dumbbell Romanian deadlift. So now if you want to progress and make this movement harder, Pavel's gonna keep a locked straight arm. He's gonna come up, he's gonna hold that position, good, and come back down, do 2 reps of that. Now the longer he holds, the harder it's gonna be. This time, if he keeps the plate closer to his body, it's gonna feel much, much harder. Boom, because that load is closer to his body versus being stretched apart. But this is a great exercise, very underrated and extremely powerful for the entire posterior chain. Number 8, we're talking about the prone Y raises. Now, instead of him doing a banded pull apart or doing a rear cable row with a machine, this movement's gonna be a lot more natural, and it's gonna hit all the smaller muscles in the back and go right down to the lower trapezius area as well. Now, this is a great movement for building postural endurance and scapular strength, which typically you don't get in a lot of pressing movements or pulling movements because you're trying to stabilize by standing, by bending over, by being in a position. As you can see him here, he's fixed. It is gonna activate his glutes and his hamstrings, but by being in this position, come up and hold it a little longer. If he can just hold that for 5 seconds, he's gonna strengthen everything in his spine, and he's gonna work on proper spine hygiene. This is a great exercise, extremely underrated, and not really done in the gym. So if you wanna progress with this, I can give him small 5-pound plates. Now, this movement is gonna work on shoulder control, and there's really not a way to get injured when you're doing this because, as you can see, the heaviest weight you're gonna use is maybe 5, 10, maybe 8 pounds. But again, try doing it for holding for 2 seconds. As he does this and he holds for 2 seconds, he's building up that endurance for all the big movements, like the pull-up, like a bent over row, like a seated row, like a one-arm row. And this movement can be done anywhere. You don't need to have fancy gym equipment, but it's a #1 exercise for building that posterior chain. And many people neglect the posterior chain and just work on bro science or the bro movements, which are chest and biceps and shoulders. Don't skip this one in your next workout. Number 9 is gonna be your basic push-up. However, we're gonna change it up and we're gonna do it either with parallel dip bars to get a lot more range of motion, or I can have toes up to make it even harder. Now, this is gonna be an alternative to doing a chest press machine where you're sitting down and you're actually just pressing forward. Why? And why this is underrated? Because the push-up is always gonna incorporate your entire body, your midsection, your core. All the small muscles are gonna stabilize you in that horizontal plane. Now, if Pavel's gonna work on this and he's gonna try to challenge himself, first he should be able to do a regular push-up. And if you can't do a regular push-up, I suggest you start with an elevated surface. But once you wanna go to get more advanced, you can change the degree of your grip. You can actually change the degree from going wide, okay, to changing it into like a V shape. You can change one higher than the other one. You can go super, super narrow, okay? And as you can see, he's going far more lower than he could get with a regular bench press or a chest press machine. Now, like I told you, he's got Wolverine joints, so he can go much, much further than typical people. And if I wanna make this harder, I can either put manual pressure on him, I can have him bring one foot over the other. Like this? Yep, and keep going down. Perfect. Okay, so let's make this even harder for the guy, okay? He can take a band, he can wrap it around his back to add more intensity, and he can also put his feet up on an elevated surface, which makes it even harder. So what's really good about this is you can scale the intensity, but doing a push-up on an elevated surface gives you a lot more deep range of motion for the chest, and is gonna activate more muscle fibers just like the weighted dip. An underrated exercise, which is typically not done in the gym. Okay guys, and lastly, the 10th movement that's underrated in the gym that most people should be doing is the dead hang. And what's really, really good about this one is it's easy to do. But what you do with this one is super simple. You can either use a bar, or you can use the rings. The rings are gonna be a little harder because the rings are gonna move. So from this position, all you're doing is timing it. Now, he's got a thumbs grip over, which is gonna involve a lot more forearms. If you wanna wrap your thumbs around, that's gonna make it even a little bit harder. Now from this position, not only are you building wrist strength, you're gonna build forearm strength, but you're also decompressing the spine. We're stretching on that vertebrae, making it open up so those discs are not compressed. He's also working on getting a lot more shoulder mobility. And because he's got his arms up in a very natural position, he's getting a lot more joint mobilization. So think of a band distraction technique where you're pulling back on a band and it's opening up the glenohumeral joint. This is a beautiful movement, which is really stretching out that humerus bone from the shoulder joint, giving him a lot more range of motion and mobility, which is gonna transfer over to so many movements. And as an active recovery movement at the end of your workout, if you just sit there in between sets and hold on, you can see how much your strength is improving week after week. So if you can hold for 20 seconds, great. But if a month goes by, you can hold for 30 seconds, you've got even more strength and more power. Thanks so much for coming by. I appreciate it as always. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I hope you guys learned a lot from these movements. What I'm trying to get to you today is saying that the big compound movements are not bad. There's nothing wrong with them. But if you're looking at changing things up and shocking things, and especially if you're looking at not getting injured, the load that we're pressing on the body is not natural. So the older you get, you want to train smart, not just train hard, because you want this to be a longevity thing. There's nothing worse than seeing a broken up 40, 50-year-old because he used to be heavy training in the gym, he was doing supplements, and now he can't move. Look at Ronnie Coleman. The guy can't walk properly, and he was one of my role models. That's it, that's all. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. We'll be pulling out 2 names to give a month of program design complimentary. And again, as always, if you're looking for help with your fitness routine, you live in the beautiful city of Vaughan, let us know. You can come by the studio and try us out. Or if you're looking for help and you're a male over 40 and you're stuck, you're not sure how to break the plateau, and you want coaching from one-on-one, reach out to me. I can't wait to meet you. On behalf of me and Pavel, have an amazing day. And remember, average is the enemy. Action beats anxiety, and your attitude is everything. Peace.